Has someone ever said something to you like, I have you covered in prayer? You may have expressed some kind of concern and they said, well, you know what, I was praying for you. I covered you. What does that mean? I've heard that for years, but never really clear explanation about it. Well, stay with me for the next few moments because we're going to discuss exactly what it means to cover someone in prayer. This is Fresh Air for Life. Let's get after it. Hey friends, welcome back to Fresh Air for Life. I'm Anthony D. Crawford, your host. So glad that you're with me. Let's continue on in this track that we've been dealing with regarding prayer. Has anyone ever said something to you like, I've covered you in prayer, I got you covered, I was praying for you and made sure you and your family were covered? Well, exactly what does that mean? Because it's a very viable a point in prayer that we need to participate in. But for many years, I've heard it, but never really clearly understood it, because you want to cover your family, you want to cover your church, you want to cover your schools, you want to cover our nation in prayer, and there are certain things that involves. I heard Dr. Tony Evans, share something one time. He says covering always includes certain things. So I want to share and begin to kind of unpack it with you. There's three in particular, and if you stay with me, there's a fourth one I'm going to give you as a bonus. So let's dig into this right here. Now, here's the first thing. It's protection. When you're praying for someone, you're covering them in prayer. You're praying protection over them. Absolutely no weapon formed against them shall prosper. 1,000 may fall at their side, 10,000 at their right hand, but it will not come near them. You are covering them in protection to make sure that they can go throughout the course of their day, course of their life under God's protection. So that is covering someone in prayer. But then also provision. Now, notice the word provision. You can really parse it, pro and vision. Vision, of course, to see something, to have foresight for something, to have a picture of something. The pro here is really kind of a supply of that vision. Well, here's how God always works. Anytime God gives you vision, he also gives you the provision, the supply to be able to bring that to pass. Well, you want to pray for your family. You want to pray for your church. You want to pray for your community, pray for your schools, so that there is proper provision there, that there is more than enough supply, more than enough finances, more than enough health included, and whatever else, so that the individual can be able to accomplish the vision that they have, for life. That's covering them in prayer. You're covering them to make sure that they are protected. You're covering them to make sure they have all the supply that they need to fulfill the vision that God has given unto them. Thirdly is this, that we're talking about, and that is power. If you're praying for someone and you're covering them in prayer, you're praying for power to show up in their lives. It starts from the inside and it works to the outside. So you want to pray that they're strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, that they're energized on the inside. They are allowing the God of all creation to do exceeding abundantly above all that he could ever ask or think, that they are focused to allow God's power to work through them. That is covering them in prayer. And then I'm going to give you a fourth one, which really encompasses all of these, because none of these work without the fourth one. This is the bonus. Are you ready? It is presence. You want to always make sure you are praying that God's presence is showing himself big in their lives. That's how you're praying for them. As they're traveling to and fro, to their jobs or whatever their responsibilities, you're praying that God's presence is there. Think about the power of presence. I was talking to, my son. I have twin sons that are 10 years old, and I have an older son as well that's 15 and a daughter that's 13. And then with one of my twin sons, I was sharing with him and said, hey, what would happen if you went off to school and there was a group of boys older than you that were threatening you? What would you do? He said, well, I might do something or I might run. I said, I understand that. I said, but now how would you respond if I was walking with you and those same group of boys, came up? He was like, oh, I'm not running. Why is that? Because my presence makes a difference. When attacks and challenges come up against him, he already understands I have something on my side that is much bigger than is coming up against me. Well, that's how we are praying for our family. We're praying for our church. We're praying for our schools. We're praying for our jobs. We're praying for our community, that the presence of God is there, so that even though challenges may come up trying to test us, trying to strike at us, we recognize we're praying for people to have God's presence, which is more than enough for them to be able to overcome overcome, and they can walk assured, they can walk with their heads up, and they can be confident and strong. So when you talk about covering someone in prayer, make sure you're praying for their protection, you're praying for their provision, you're praying for the power to be, shown in their lives, but most definitely you are praying for God's presence to be big. Again, this is Fresh Air for Life. I encourage you, follow me, subscribe, give me a like, thumbs up, comments, follow me on social media and all those good things, and let's keep enjoying fresh air because God's got good things for you and me. See you next time.